I am your friendly neighborhood J-Man. This is the News Box, and today we're talking about Lego ideas, WALL-E. WALL-E.
And now, the aggregator of awesome, the curator of cool, my dad, your friendly neighborhood Jaman.
Director Andrew Stanton first conceived the idea for WALL-E at lunch with fellow Pixar writers John Lasseter, Peter Docter, and Joe Ranft way back in 1994, while brainstorming ideas for what would eventually become Finding Nemo, A Bug's Life, and Monsters, Inc. Stanton asked the all-important question. Where's the men's room? Nah, I'm just fooling around. What he actually asked was, what if mankind had to leave Earth and somebody forgot to turn off the last robot? Under the name of Trash Planet, Stanton and Docter developed the idea for the film through 1995, but still lacked a clear direction. Because of that, Docter ended up leaving the project and moving on to direct Monsters, Inc. Stanton, though, he continued to develop the film over the years, finally writing the script in 2002 while finishing up his directorial duties on Finding Nemo. In 2003, Stanton created a story reel for the first 20 minutes of the movie and presented it to John Lasseter and Steve Jobs. Yes, that's Steve Jobs. Both were impressed enough that the movie was greenlit for production. WALL-E would go on to become the most complex Pixar production of the time, surpassing Monsters, Inc. use of 75,000 storyboards by using a total of 125,000 of them. WALL-E was released to theaters June 27, 2008 with an estimated budget of $180 million. The little movie that could went on to gross $520 million worldwide, according to Box Office Mojo. It was later released on Blu-ray DVD, selling over 9 million units to become the second best-selling animated DVD in 2008, right behind Kung Fu Panda. And thus, concluding our history portion of the show. We'll be right back with Lego Ideas WALL-E right after this.
I know a boy, his name is Zach. He loves to fit, he loves to stack. Yes, construction is his knack. He's Zach, the Lego maniac. He builds in the window, he's off the wall. He builds them big, he builds them small. In Lego land, he'll rock and roll. He's Lego wild, out of control. Zach, he's a Lego maniac. Zach, woo, Zach.
Legoland, King's Castle, Airport, Cosmic Fleet Voyager, sold separately from Lego Systems.
Welcome back. One of the Pixar artists working on WALL-E during its production was Angus Maclane, a director, animator, and screenwriter. Angus began working on his Lego model of WALL-E while working on the film in 2005. Over the course of the next 3 years, Angus would not only refine the character, but his Lego version as well. He would go on to submit his original model to Lego Ideas for a chance to be made into an official Lego model. Over the course of the submittal process, Angus would update the model, not only changing the eyes, but entirely rebuilding the head as well. His WALL-E project would go on to reach the required 10,000 supporters needed to be considered as a Lego Ideas model. In early 2015, Lego made it official. Angus Maclane's WALL-E was selected as their 12th model. And in September, it was finally released to retail for purchase. All that's well and good, right? Let's just cut to the chase here, shall we? The Lego Ideas WALL-E set contains 667 pieces. You know how you get one of those Lego sets in those really big boxes, and when it's put together, it's a bit smaller than you might have expected, and you're more than a little disappointed? Well, that's not the case here. WALL-E's a decent-sized model measuring 7 inches high and 6 inches wide. It's a fun build too. Actually, it could be one of my favorite builds. Yes, even compared to UCS Slave 1. WALL-E took me about 3 hours to put together. I was watching Flash and Arrow at the time, so I might have been just a little bit distracted. One of the things that I liked about the build is how Angus and Lego used all sorts of interesting Lego pieces in interesting ways, like the 2 pieces, just 2, used as WALL-E's cockroach buddy, or the flag pieces used as WALL-E's fingers. But one of the downsides of the build is that the bags weren't numbered like they are in regular Lego models. So basically, You're building this guy old school style. I'm talking dumping the bricks out into a pile and just hoping for the best. I'm not one of those pre-sorters. Ain't nobody got time for that. But once you get yourself through the nightmare of all those unsorted bricks and get him built, the first thing you notice is how articulate Wally is. Starting at the top, Angus and those Cats at Lego Ideas capture the expressiveness of Wally's eyes as they were in the movie. They move up and down and independent of each other too. The neck moves at several different points, giving Wally's head a really nice range of motion. His arms rotate all over the place thanks to ball joints, and on top of that, they move back and forth too, extending forward or moving backward. And when you get to his hands, they're just as articulate. His 3 fingers move around, move up and down, and his hands rotate as well. As for the body, this isn't just an ordinary cube build. The front of Wally opens up just like in the movie, so if you have any trash, you can store it in there. Wally's front panel has a couple printed pieces on it, none of those dreaded stickers here. His nameplates and solar charge panels are all printed bricks, which is a nice touch. And finally, there's the treads. The treads are made of a hard plastic. They do move, but not real easily, or rather, not easily enough for the figure to be played with. The biggest drawback to the model, though, and one that's been widely criticized, is Wally's head. More specifically, his head mount. I'm sure you noticed earlier that Wally's head spins around a little too freely. It's done so by design, but it's still frustrating. Lego photographer Chris McVeigh, however, came up with a solution for the head mount with an alternate design. After initially resisting the pushback, Lego recently decided to make the change to Wally's head mount on all the sets going forward. Before wrapping up, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least point out the box and instruction book. The box is one of those premium types from Lego. It's got a lot of nice graphics on it. It's clearly meant not only to be saved, but displayed with the model as well. As for the instruction book, it's just that. It's a book. It's bound together like a book. It's 135 pages long. Of course, most of those pages are dedicated to putting the model together, but there are a couple pages of Wally and a short bio of Angus Maclane. So what's the final verdict? The build is a bit technical at times, which I personally like. And while the model is very articulate, it's really not one of those sets to be played with. This guy is meant to be posed, then displayed with your action figures. Does that mean he's not worth it? Hells no. At $59.99 and 667 pieces, Wally is definitely worth it, whether you're a fan of the movie or a fan of Lego. And that is all the time we have for today's show. I'd like to thank myself for putting all this shit together. Don't forget to check out my website, the-newsbox.com. Don't understand why you haven't yet. I'm also on all your favorite social media. I'm on the Twitter, I'm on the Facebook, and I'm even on the Google+. All you got to do is search. You can check me out every week on the Fanboy Factor podcast at fanboyfactor.com. And most importantly, I need you to subscribe to this channel right now. The Newsbox. You give us about 5 minutes and we'll give you a dearth of useless information.